very malicious.
Massive monstrosities, they're just beasts with big 6-foot tongues.
The church liquor sequence started off as one page of description of action in the script. The director storyboarded the sequence. We just sort of took it from there. The big challenge with it was to get the creature looking right. The basic design is lifted from the game, essentially. There was an intent to do an animatronic creature for some of the sequences. Most of the shots didn't really have the right behavior and the right look, so it was decided to go full CGI with the creature. Every liquor shot is a computer-generated creature. We referenced a lot of baboons, lions, things that are aggressive, and he does sort of hop around on all fours. And we did reference some frogs.
They're quite a difficult creature to work with because they don't have any eyes. It's very difficult to create expressions. I've really built a lot of the emotion of these creatures into the tongue. So in shots where I really wanted to portray a lot of aggression, I've really got that tongue going like a whip. Its texture is that of a flayed human being. I pretty much said, go to the butcher's, get some steaks, some chops, and scan in raw bloody meat as texture.
We start off doing rough animations to get approval on, move into refined animation and lighting and compositing. We rendered different passes for this creature's surface, different passes for the specular highlights, diffuse the reflection as juicy as possible.
I don't deal with the zombie dogs this time. I let Jill take care of it.
Yeah, the dogs. Oh, the puppy. I'm gonna kill the puppy. Puppy's gonna kill you. Okay, kill it. Okay.
The dogs had been characters in the first movie as well as being characters in our movie. These dogs have to look fantastic. Everyone will be completely let down if they don't look as good in this movie.
Jasmine, she's back. Nobody can look her in the eyes. There are very strict rules. She requires total star treatment, has her own trailer. She's just great. And it was funny when they came back, they definitely remembered the makeup that we put on them from last time, because it takes hours.
As in the first film, there were very well-trained, real live Dobermans on set who did the stunts and ran around. There was practical makeup done on the dogs on the day on set, but not too gory or nasty.
But I think you just need more blood on it.
We ended up with a lot of difficult shots where we were having to create bloody gore makeup, essentially, and track it into the dogs.
They literally just attached two-dimensional painted textures back onto the dogs. That sounds a lot easier than it really is. It really did take weeks and weeks of fine-tuning and detailed work in order to make it seamlessly integrated back on top of the plate.
Some of the shots in the film aren't so high-tech as the shot where Jill pans the stiffy, as we call it. Just a rubber dog, essentially, with makeup on. Didn't move, didn't do anything. Just a rubber dog on a wire, and she smacked it with the pan.
I basically call it souvlaki dog because it looked like a big fake rubber dog, but his skin was peeled off. And there's nothing better than a good hero's death and then having your throat ripped out. I know my mom will be like, that's my boy.
Oh, shit.
We have a couple of helicopter sequences in the movie. The first one, Oded's introduction as our hero.
Nikolai, tie me off!
The stunt people felt very comfortable in doing this stunt for real by a stunt man jumping out of a helicopter into a safety bag. And then my work was merely to add a rope onto him. The other helicopter sequence, which is at City Hall, some of those shots are real, and some of those are miniatures.
The sequence was carefully boarded out, scripted, and planned so that the helicopters would be flying in a distinctive yet recognizable fashion to sell that you're shooting on location with the real helicopter. It starts moving from right to left. You cut to a miniature as a missile is about to hit it. The helicopter still needs to be traveling in that same path. So we were very careful in planning that out. We created the two helicopters in scale. They were smaller miniatures, about 1/8 scale, loaded with gasoline and explosive charges. And so the helicopters moved as they were exploding, and they were built on a rig, flying at camera. We ended up using close to 10 helicopters to get the shots perfectly. There were about 6 shots in the sequence. It took about a week of different takes to get it to happen right.
Tough Alice. She's not scared of anything. Of course, inside I'm just going, oh my god, how am I gonna do this?
Mila rappelling down the face of City Hall. Originally it was going to be she was just running left to right, and then as the camera rotated and pulled around in front of her, widening the frame, then you realised, hang on a second, she's running vertically down the side of a building. That shot was so successful that it was almost too fantastic to be real, even though it was real. Another shot was inserted, which is now the shot which starts the sequence.
We were on a green screen in the studio with the actress, and everything else that you see in the shot was created in the computer. We had the motion picture cameras on the roof of the actual City Hall shooting different tiled plates that we then used to create our CG environment that moves. The next shot in the sequence is the beginning of her run down the side of the building. The stunt woman actually ran down the full 280 feet to the bottom, and that's the second shot in the sequence where we actually replaced the stunt woman's face.
We have a number of face replacements on the movie. For example, in the glass corridor, where we painted out the stunt lady, and then we shot a green screen Mila and literally popped her over the painted out Joanne plate to complete the shot. The Nemesis is a prosthetic, an actor in a suit with a mask. The mask had different expressions built into it that were manipulated using remote control. It was apparent in close-up shots that there was the eyelid of the mask, and then underneath that was the eyelid of the actor. We had a look at stretching the mask up to meet the very rim of the actor's eye. It turned out to be a very successful technique.
Nemesis Vision was this hybrid vision of a creature that's really a man, and yet he's part machine. They wanted to combine an organic feel to the look with color, as well as have elements that are more true to the video game. It was a pretty unique look and pretty effective at telling the story of his character and how he reacts and interacts with his environment.
One of the scenes is completely CGI, which is the nuclear explosion that we have at the end. This is a simple example of something that can be done in real life because we couldn't destroy a real city.
A reference for the atomic blast was atomic blast. We had all kinds of nuclear testing footage, recently declassified footage. It's semi-based on reality, but mostly like a creative, what could it look like?
We see the missile explode, and at that point we take over to the miniature to actually blow it up at the end of the movie. We created this immense miniature of City Hall, about 1/6 scale, and the miniature itself is about 43 feet tall. Lots of plaster and glass and steel. There were 1,600 panes of glass. When you see the windows blow out in sequence floor by floor, each window has a separate charge attached to it. There is window dressing and debris and building supplies built in scale inside the building. All of that projects outwards, and it took us nearly 4 months to build the model, and on the day when we went to shoot it, we had 7 cameras shooting plates, as well as 4 other cameras shooting just angles that we decided to create on the day.
We then added other CG particles over the top of that, and a visible front edge as it moves through the frame.
It sells on film as if we really blew the building up.